friend Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. This is one of these ones that actually took me a few days to get it, but didn't even know it was coming out, quite honestly. But I am ready to babble about the Beaver Brown Band, and I'm talking about John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, or as my friends and I used to say when we were younger, John Cafferty and the Brown Beaver Band, just because it was a whole lot more fun. But anyway, if anybody is not familiar with John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, where the heck you been? Because they were like huge back in the 80s. I can't even remember what year that first one came out, but I'm talking about Eddie and the Cruisers. I know it was like early 80s, 82, 83, somewhere around there. Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack came out. They were looking for a band to be the voice of Eddie and the Cruisers, and John Cafferty got the gig. And in case anybody's ever heard that song, On the Dark Side, I'm sure you have. If you've ever wondered why there was the chorus or the verse is the exact same for both, it's because they went to the studio to record it, and he had no second verse ready to go because they didn't know it was going to be a full song. He was only commissioned to write, I guess, like a minute and a half or something like that, and so that's all he wrote. So when they got to the studio, the producer or somebody, I can't remember exactly how it went down, but they wanted a longer version of it, and they just didn't have anything else, and they said just do the second verse as same as the first verse. So I mean, if it worked for REM, then they did it with 3. Why not have it work for Eddie or John, I guess in this case? You know, and I remember watching that movie as a kid too, and I watched it here not too long ago, but I really loved it as a kid. I watched it not too long ago, a couple years ago, and I just couldn't figure out why I liked it so much as a kid, especially Eddie Lives Part 2, because he did the soundtrack for that one too. That was rough. That movie was rough, but the soundtrack was still pretty cool. And in case anybody caught, I believe it was the end of Eddie Lives, where they do the big concert. That was Bon Jovi's stage. Like, they were set up to play in I don't know, New Jersey or New York. I can't remember exactly what the arena was, but that was Bon Jovi's stage, so that's kind of cool little thing there. I should probably check up on the stuff to give you the exact whatever it was, but that's just a little something I kind of remember. But anyway, getting back to this, they haven't released an album in 37 years, and that Eddie and Cruisers, you know, Eddie Lives Part 2 was the last thing I guess they ever did. As far as albums go, they've contributed a couple other, soundtracks, Rocky IV and Cobra, and apparently there's a ton of other ones I don't even know about that they've contributed to. They did have 2 other studio albums that I'm aware of. Tough All Over, which I really liked that album a lot. I used to listen to that one even more than the Eddie and Cruiser stuff. Really short album, but and then they had another one called Roadhouse, which was a pretty good, album as well. They kind of have that New Jersey sound, kind of reminds me of, like, I don't want to say it, but Bruce Springsteen, because he's kind of the main one known for that, and like Southside Johnny, and even Stevie Van Zant's got that cool sound. There's a bunch of other bands, but those are like the main ones that I'm aware of anyway. And that's funny that I mentioned Bruce Springsteen, because he's, I guess, actually the one who convinced John Cafferty to do this album, and John wrote all the songs on this. And the only original members, I guess, are still the guitarist Gary Gramellini and their saxophonist Michael Antunes. So out of the rest of the guys, don't know what happened there, but that's all that's left. And if you're gonna buy this expecting, like I was kind of expecting it to sound like, Eddie and the Cruisers type stuff, or even the more rockin' stuff that they had on the Tough All Over and Roadhouse, it's not like that at all. I mean, it still sounds like John Cafferty. It still has that New Jersey sound, but they don't rock too much on this one. I mean, they're upbeat, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the same style as the stuff that they were doing back then. It's a little bit more of the New Jersey type sound. This sounds a lot like Bruce Springsteen. That's the vibe I got from it. Even on certain songs, there's a couple songs on here I would really challenge somebody to tell me which of the two it was. Just vocally, it was really close. I think the closest it gets to anything close to the Eddie and Cruisers or Demon Tough All Over is there's a song called Razors and Rock, or Razor and Rock, I should say. It's like that's the ninth tune on here. It's that's the closest it comes. There's a couple other little ones on here that are more upbeat, but I don't think anything really comes close to that early sound. Although I really like this. I listened to it 3 times through now, and it's actually starting to grow on me a little bit. So once I got over the initial, okay, it doesn't sound like what I was hoping for, it's actually a really good album. Nonetheless, even though it does very similarly sound like that previously mentioned dude, the thing I did like about the first couple songs there, especially Palisades, opening track, lyrically just a cool, it did pull me in like instantly. The lyrics tell a little story, and I noticed that on this whole album he was really good with telling stories. Kind of the lyrics pull you in. They're very colorful. They paint a picture mentally in your head. That's hard to do, and I think he did it really well. It's a couple of songs on here. A lot of them are just like either just mid-tempo or slightly up-tempo. Just that's Asbury Park sound. And I know there's a couple in here, and I don't remember what the first one was even. I think it was Moonlight Drive, I believe, was the one that kind of just is just like mainly guitar and him singing. I could be wrong on what song it was now because I'm kind of lost track, but just him singing with a guitar, and it's kind of a slower one. That's about as slow as it gets at all in the first part of the album. And then the last song here, the title track, Sound of Waves, the longest track, is just John Cafferty, the piano, and a little bit of sax going on, and it's 7 minutes and 42 seconds long. And that song really didn't do much of anything for me, quite honestly. It was probably my least favorite one on the whole thing, so I'm glad it was the end. And a couple little other places and spots in here. I got a really, almost like a garage rock type feel on a couple of the songs, and even like that 60s psychedelic sound on a couple of them in here, like Lasting Impression, and like that was the one I think probably that really struck me the most. But anyway, overall, a good listen. I don't want to keep this thing going too long because I tend to babble a lot longer than I want to, but it had a very upbeat feel to most of it. I probably could have done without a couple of these because this did go on quite a while. And it's funny because the songs tended to seem like they got really long at the very end. I mean, you got Promise and Dream, 7 minutes 13 seconds. You got Hearts of the Mighty at 6 minutes and 39 seconds, and then like I previously mentioned, Sound of Waves was just 7 minutes and 42 seconds, and they didn't need to be that long. Those songs didn't really develop enough to go anywhere. I could probably say that about a couple of these other ones earlier on. There's a couple that are right around the 5-minute mark that, that's the only little negative thing I will say, is that some of these didn't need to be that long. They didn't add anything or develop to a peak of any type or a crescendo or anything like that. It was just pretty much very repetitive. I mean, if he was trying to finish telling the story, then it needed to be that long, I guess. But I would say that just musically, just sitting back listening, if you're not just sitting there, just enveloping what was going in. I don't know if I use the right word there, but digesting, I guess, what you're listening to, really paying attention, then probably the songs tend to go on a little bit longer than necessary. But that's the only little tiny thing I'll say negative about it. Otherwise, other than the initial impact of it not sounding at all like early John Cafferty, it still sounds like John Cafferty at the point in his life where you'd expect him to be now. A lot of bands' careers develop over time. We just didn't get to hear the development over the last 37 years, so I guess that's where we're at now. But anyway, if anybody has anything they want to add, as always, I welcome the comments. If you think I'm way off base, feel free to let me know. It's all just opinion anyway. So that is mine. And then I always ask to share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I wouldn't even mind hearing some more stuff from him. If he's got this much left in him, man, keep going and until you drop. Who cares? Keep making music. It's all fun and enjoyable to listen to. Just keep making it. So until then, we'll see you.